Alright, hi guys, this is Petelius from AE, and I'm going to be doing a Q&A with Gamersville, basically just going through all the questions that you guys put down in the forums, and hopefully doing a pretty damn good job of answering them.
Alright.
Hey guys, just keep on going as usual, really. We've still got a hell of a lot of things to do, mostly kind of flesh out a lot of the extra things that we'd like to add in.
Yeah, just to make it
because right now, the release will basically be a lot of kind of foreign war focus, focusing on a lot of foreign conflict instead of the internal
struggles.
But that will probably come later on. Yeah, like politics and things like that.
Fair enough. Got to get the main stuff first. I mean, yeah. Alright, so then second up we have Alex U4326 who says he's got a couple of questions there. Why nobody say nothing about release, and is the campaign map far to be released? Or released, I don't know what that means.
Well, we're not really talking about it because we're not entirely sure. I mean, there's a lot of guys working on it. I mean, there's about 6 guys working on this mod. So we don't always know exactly where each of us is in terms of, release and things like that. So we do have to kind of wait on each other and, well, not wait, but we need to know where everyone is before we start saying oh yeah, we're going to be ready by this point.
Yeah, because...
and also, also because the thing about the release date, when we initially set it, we set it because we thought we could actually hit it.
Of course.
And obviously, we're not actually going to set release dates if we don't think we're going to be able to hit it. But the thing is, 2 weeks or whatever before release, everyone just started getting really busy because it's that time of the year where everyone starts going back to when everyone starts going back to university or starts doing this, that, or the other, and
I mean, everyone's got to remember as well. You guys don't do this full time, of course. So
no, definitely not.
No, so you got to remember that. That's probably a big factor.
I mean, it really is, because the last week or whatever, it was every single day would count towards if we'd actually be able to reach it or not. If you managed to beat through a whole day and do a solid a large amount of modding on that day, then release would look so much closer than it would do the day before. Yeah. And it's kind of a day-to-day thing, so that's why we're not saying about release.
Very day-to-day, yeah. Okay, he also asks, will this mod have the supply like Rome 2 Divida Tempera?
Yeah, it will do actually. I think that's pretty much done already actually.
That's awesome.
It's mainly trait based. But yeah, that's
awesome. Alright. He's got a lot of questions. Will be civil wars? He asks in full quotation.
Civil wars. Yes, there will be just the generic civil wars for now. Like I said, politics and things like that.
Will come later. Yeah.
But we've got a lot of plans in terms of big events and things like that. Yeah. So Rome, especially, will see a lot of civil war.
That's good.
Yeah, but the big cool events that I really want to see in the Cimbri invasion, things like that. They'll come much later.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's coming, that's... If you guys are going to play it on release, when that may be, just remember that, that's not the whole thing. They're still doing a lot of stuff, so that's really important to remember. And, will the raise option after conquering a settlement be available? I assume yes?
Of course. How else are you going to salt Carthage?
Yeah. Alright. We got the next question from Hydro here. He says, I recall hearing that certain features will not be in the first campaign release, namely political events. Would there be a list of features expected to be in the first release and so on?
I mean, it's mostly just the basics. I don't think emergent factions are entirely in either. I think that's just going to be basic rebel factions for now, because that takes a lot of work. Just because there's so many of them. What else? It's basically just going to be just a working standard. Just imagine it being almost vanilla, except when we have manpower, population, supply.
Yeah. Still quite a lot of big differences.
That's about it. Yeah, I know, but it's definitely not what we want it to be in the end result.
No, of course.
Yeah, it's still got a lot there.
I mean, it's probably done a very high percentage all of the way there. I mean, if you guys basically got the bare and bones set up, and by the time of release, you guys have done a lot by then. So
yeah, it's a lot of the fact that it's Attila is like we had to basically take everything from Attila, throw it out, and then rebuild it from scratch. So that's what took a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it should be a lot faster after that.
Okay, yep. Alright, next up we have Servant asking a few questions. First of all, he asked, if I lose all my regions, is it possible to become a horde?
No, I don't. That's just, I think it's the hordes are really complex, and that's a vanilla mechanic, and yeah, I don't think we can do that.
Okay, and he asked a couple of questions previously asked, and is there no music mod?
No, music is not moddable, but we are looking into that as well as the campaign, like adding new
regions,
like cities to the campaign, like custom cities. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
I assume if that's available, you guys will be able to like probably edit the map as well, right?
Probably not, actually. That's really hard coded. We can't even touch it. Like, honest to God, it's impossible. Like, they've made it impossible to mod the
Attila,
campaign. Yeah, it's like just Greece, Illyria, and Sicily, I think.
Yeah.
They're like really just sparse. So that's why we had to go with this like later kind of time frame.
Which makes sense. I mean, you're very limited. Alright,
it's just has to.
Sorry. We've got Draco here asking, will General Rally and Warcry abilities be reduced?
I quite like them as they are, to be honest. I mean, I do know that Warcry definitely is quite powerful as it is in the current state. But I kind of like that. I kind of like it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll look into it. If it does become like a serious problem, then yeah. But I don't know. I quite like it as is.
And he also asked, oh my god, you guys got a lot of, not just singular questions in each thing. There's like 10 little lines. Okay. He asks, will you make elephants and pikes weaker, as well as adding new units to Iberian factions and Macedon and Pergamon and Rhodes? That's quite a lot to do in once, so...
Elephants and pikes are already done, or at least should be. Just waiting to get uploaded. We did a lot of fixes to them, like pretty much straight after release.
The battle race,
Yeah, and then the adding units, I mean, maybe not straight away. Like, Iberian factions is what confuses me most, because the Iberians have got like 100+ units.
Yeah, they've got a lot.
Like, do you really need more units than the Iberians?
More, we must have more.
Yeah, but like Rhodes, a lot of the smaller ones, I can imagine getting a bit more kind of limelight later on, because we kind of just threw them in as like little extra factions, especially because they need, everyone needs like units. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can't be walking around with no army.
No, exactly. But they were kind of just thrown in the last minute. I'm not saying like they're not well done. I still think their rosters are pretty damn good, to be honest. Like a lot of people moan about Parthia, but it's mostly just because we don't have the evidence. Sorry, we don't have the evidence to
historically
add in anything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we just have to do more research and find more things.
Fair enough.
See more models and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Also, he asked, will you make campaign previews? Now, I assume that's sort of what... kind of Havoc's doing that right now with the campaign previews, but I think he's meaning like a campaign let's play of some sort. I'm a bit confused by that question.
Probably not. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure where we're going to go with those. Havoc has a few extra files that allow him to like look at buildings and things like that, but he still won't be able to do a preview just because it simply isn't done.
It isn't all done.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, until like pretty much release, it won't all be together, it'll be in like separate little packs. So it's really difficult to get a preview,
to get one singular preview build.
Yeah.
Okay, here we have Grandsters. Hi, I really like the mod, the textures, the model details, and the extensive research about this era is really over the top. However, I'd really like to see more in-depth explanation for the battle and campaign AI, if you will. And hopefully some details on combat morale.
Yeah, I saw him explain this later because I just asked him to explain it a bit more.
It wasn't very clarified. It was a bit vague.
A bit vague, yeah. Well, basically, the battle AI in the campaign AI for a start completely different. The battle AI you can't actually like model that much. It's simply influencing it, making certain options for the AI like more preferable. So say if you like make a running really kind of fatigue heavy, but then you make walking like regain fatigue, then they'll be more likely to walk, things like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that does.
Yeah, and I have been working on making reserves a thing, so like the AI actually uses reserves, and it does every now and again. And I don't know, it's hard to keep consistent. Like it will do definitely if you put it on defensive mode and don't start shooting it with like tons of arrows. But otherwise, I don't know. It's difficult. Like I'm really trying to make it work, but
it's gonna keep choosing the easiest option.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, most of the time the AI will literally just rush you as it does in vanilla. At least it's a little more intelligent now. It will use its like skirmishes to attack like your cavalry and stuff, and then it'll send its cavalry around the flanks and things like that, like it won't do in vanilla. No. But it's still not like it's not really that much of a challenge unless you put it on the harder difficulties. Because I made like the morale of the AI a bit higher and the morale of the player a bit lower, so
they do get
generally
bonuses.
They'll get like little buffs that you won't really notice them, but it does like make a big impact on the battles, especially if you don't have like a really kind of high morale army like say the Roman Empire or something.
Which makes sense, and that's realistic though.
Yeah.
If you're pumping up the difficulty, you're asking to
Yeah, I'd say like hard is probably the one I would play on, just because it really does give like a kind of realistic challenge.
Yeah, which makes it all better.
Yeah, and then campaign AI, we've taken bits off like other people. So if you've played other campaign AI mods, then you'll generally know the gist of where we're going with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't really tell obviously because the campaign isn't playable, so we can't really see the AI kind of going around and. So we can't really comment on that. But from what I've seen, even from just like what we have right now, which is basically the only two armies that exist in game are Scipio versus Hannibal in that little Zama thing that we set up. If ever I lost that, then the AI would immediately start kind of like declaring war on me. So they're definitely a lot more aggressive than they are in vanilla.
Yeah.
And also, once I actually started building my new army, they started begging for peace. So yeah, they definitely seem a lot more kind of
quick to react.
They seem like a lot more like politically minded and diplomatic, but also a lot more aggressive. So hopefully that comes off when we actually release the campaign.
Well, we'll just have to see then, I guess. Okay, Caligula Mad asks, how exactly are you going to be planning to make the campaign take 1,200 turns without becoming an extreme grind?
I don't quite know yet. I mean, a lot of it's going to be like making the day-to-day things a lot more interesting. Like politics will do like a lot of that, I think. Because politics will make things kind of a lot more difficult, so it'll take more time, but it'll also make it a lot more fun because there'll be a lot of like things that you have to figure out. Even if it's just like, I don't know, a gladiator becomes famous but then tries to assassinate you or something. I don't know.
That's
like
awesome.
Just ran. Yeah, I mean it's not like something that we've generally massively thought about.
Yeah.
We do have like ideas here and there, but not like concrete. So I can't really say exactly how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But when we do it, I hope it works really well.
Yeah. Well, it has to be. This is a great mod.
Well, yeah, but like the main aim of making it last long is basically just making the wars longer.
Yeah.
We want to make kind of conquering a region or like conquering a faction. Yeah, a lot more harder, because instead of just like steamrolling over every single faction like in a couple turns, that really annoys me.
Yeah, it does.
I really like that's the whole thing, especially with the combat mechanics the way they are. You know, you kind of tend to have large amounts of enemy armies kind of retreat and still stay alive. So you will basically have to keep beating them until you eventually like wipe them out.
Which makes sense. I mean, in real, you're not going to just
Siege is a lot more difficult as
yeah,
well.
that's
so.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay. I'm not going to state out the obvious.
Yeah, no.
He also asked how many turns per year the campaign will be.
4.
4, okay.
It's pretty simple, that. Just 4.
Yeah, just 4. Straight up answer. It's the easiest answer we've had so far.
Yeah, easiest.
Also, have you nerfed agents? Because, and I agree with this, it would indeed suck if Scipio or Hannibal were assassinated early on.
Yes, we have. I'm not entirely sure how, because we did do it for the Rome 2 one, definitely, and we're definitely going to be doing it for Attila as well. I think we're going to do them a bit differently, in fact, actually. I'm not entirely sure how they're working, but for now we just have, like, basic kind of standard agents, and they definitely aren't, like, you can't go around, like, destroying entire armies with them anymore.
That's good, because that really annoyed people.
Yeah. I think the main idea is the spy's going to be going around, like, finding out enemy armies and things like that, possibly having an assassination chance and things like that, but it's going to be much lower.
Which is good.
Yeah, I know. Champions, I don't think are actually going to exist anymore. We're not having the champions, so we're going to do something different with them.
Interesting.
I'm not entirely sure what, because I can't remember.
Are you going to be like adding a new person to replace that, or just removing that feature entirely?
Yeah, we're going to be changing him to something else, and I can't remember. It's going to depend on the factions. This isn't really my area, so I can't tell you exactly. But I have had conversations with the guy. And I think for Rome, it's going to be something like a governor. I can't quite remember. But yeah, and the other guy's just a diplomat who basically you go around their faction and boost their diplomatic kind of
relations.
Yeah, so you can like make diplomacy work a bit better.
That's good. All right, well, any insight's good. Here we have Douchebag asking, how much disk space will the mod take up? Of course, with the campaign map included, he asks.
I don't know. Well, it's 7 gig already. I mean,
and that's just the battles, right? Or is?
Well, it's actually quite a lot of the campaign already as well, so it shouldn't be
hidden in
too
there.
much bigger. Yeah, it's literally just like all the stuff that we don't want people to see have just been taken out, but all like the base stuff is still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, 8 gig, 9 gig maybe.
Just
it's
expect
probably not
the worst.
too much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It won't be more than like it won't be more than 10 gig, that's for sure.
That's good.
But like 7 gig is pretty much like what it's at now, and it shouldn't get too much bigger.
No.
Like I can imagine it getting like 1 gig bigger maybe, but it shouldn't get any bigger than that.
No. All right. Well, just make sure you've got enough space. 10 gig should be fine. And if not, you're gonna have to sue Petelius. But Legionnaire asks, is the upgrade system for generals, has that changed?
I have no idea what that is, so probably not now.
I think I'm not sure. He may be referring to the traits of generals and things like that, but I'm not sure.
Traits definitely. We've got entirely different traits. Traits are actually really interesting, and I'm not sure I can entirely tell you all about that because some of it's secret.
No worries. No worries. Makes it better than mystery.
I know it's going to be some really interesting stuff actually.
Alright. Okay, he also says some same questions asked earlier, and any changes to the diplomatic system. That's sort of similar to earlier, but
yeah, that's kind of within the campaign AI as well.
He asked that question in the one before as well. So
yeah, I know. The diplomacy, as in like the actual options. No, there's nothing changed. It's just how the AI reacts to different diplomatic options.
Okay, awesome. I haven't read this one before. I think this guy already asked the question before. Farrell. He says, I love the battles on A, but I wonder if this is a good deal for the campaign, because normally battles are pitched battles on plains. When army lost, they could fight again because the losses were not huge, but in Total War the problem is if we lose one battle to capture a city, we lose basically all of it, and 15 to 20% is left. So how are you going to solve that?
Yeah, I think he knows what I think I know what he means there.
Yeah.
Because basically, if you either defeat them twice or you kind of capture a city, the entire enemy army just dies.
It's wiped out. Yep.
I'm not entirely sure. I think because for a start, capturing anywhere is going to be a lot more difficult, even just capturing in general. But like actually governing the place after you've captured it is going to be a lot more punishing. You're going to have to keep your army there a lot longer. Because, well, basically they won't like you. We've also got all the manpower and population thing there, so you'll have to wait until the population and the manpower kind of regenerate and stuff as well. And there's a lot of different options in how you run a province, which is really going to change like how. Yeah, because you've got like tributary states and kind of like allied states. You can get like satrapies and things like that and all sorts. So
lots of options.
Yeah, it really depends. Yeah. So that's going to be a large part of it. I think.
Large, yeah. I mean, everything we're talking about is kind of the big things, really. But makes sense.
I mean, yeah.
Sarah Socks asks, will a co-op campaign work properly? That's quite interesting. I'm quite interested in that as well.
You see, I'm not actually sure on that. Maybe initially no, but we are working on it.
Yeah.
Like it should do, but I don't know.
Sure. No.
I mean, our scripter is definitely working on making it possible, and as far as I'm aware, most of it should be okay. I'm not sure.
No worries.
Like once we get to release, then I can tell you then. But until then, I'm not really sure.
Mouth shut. Yeah. No, but obviously, even upon release, like you've been saying a couple of times earlier, you guys got to remember that that's not the full mod yet. Still, that's.
I mean, if it's not ready by release, it should be like not too long after, because it is a relatively high thing on the agenda. So we'll just have to see.
Yep. Okay. Garensters asks.
Again.
Yeah. Jeez. Anyway, his simplified question is: can the BAI use its reserves as intended, and if so, how frequent? That's.
Yeah, I've answered that.
Yep.
So,
all right. So, will we ever see a BAI? Cycle charge with cavalry. He's doing a couple of.
I think I've actually seen that. Actually, I swear to God, I've seen them cycle charge.
I'm
not entirely sure about it. Yeah, I think I actually have seen them do that. So I think that should be already in.
Yeah. Okay.
At least sometimes.
Well, you just have to keep your eye out, I guess.
Yeah.
He also asks, not sure if implemented, haven't tried Augustan legions. Are we going to see new unit formations such as the infantry wedge? If so, can the BAI utilize the formation efficiently?
I think we're probably just going to stick with the formations that we have right now, which is basically just testudo and shield wall and a few other things for hoplites. And then wedges for for shot cavalry and stuff like that. The thing with formations is they tend to mess up some of the ways the battles work, especially like formed attack and stuff like that. We've taken out because they just don't work in Attila.
No.
And they're also kind of buggy because if you ever hit like a formation attack unit in the side, then it kind of like spins around in the middle of battles.
And then very awkward.
Yeah, so we're trying to minimize the amount of formations. But yeah, the AI definitely does use shield wall. I'm not sure if it uses testudo, but it definitely does use shield wall quite a lot. Yeah,
I think players use that a lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, if we do add in formations and things like that, the AI does tend to prefer to use them over just normal
ones.
Yeah, normal kind of like formations. Like if they have a formation to choose, they will choose it, especially if it like increases the attack and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course, wants the best option there. Okay, he also asked, can the CAI expand and build an empire?
I bloody well hope so. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty useless, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't know. Like I hope so, but we'll just see how it happens when we get to the campaign. When we actually manage to test it ourselves, then we'll tell you.
Yeah, there's a lot of campaign questions, and of course, because that's not released, I guess it makes sense. But it also, it's quite hard. And he also, you're asking a lot of stuff, man. He asked, in terms of morale, I just wanted to know if shattered units would come back to battle more often.
I mean, it's probably going to stay as is. They tend to come back every now and again.
Yeah.
Like if you lose, I think it's like 60 or 70% of your, well, not 60 or 70, sorry, like 30 or 40% of your troop. So say if you've got like 240 men, if you drop down to like, I don't know, 180, they most likely won't come back. But anything higher than that, they should come back. Like 200 and stuff, that should be good. Like, yeah.
So
if you've still got 200 men left out of 240, then they most of the time should come back.
Completely gone.
Well, yeah, that too.
All right.
If they have something to come back to,
then they will come back. Otherwise, they're just suicide. Makes sense. Basically. That's logic. Okay. Tyre asks, One, is there any chance that we will see a custom or Rome 2 maps to fight over in the campaign?
Yeah. Yes, probably, but not in initial release.
No, yeah.
One of the guys did post in the forums a while back that he might make a sub-mod. I hope he does, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not an easy process just like music modding, because there isn't, like, the tools don't work, or we don't have the tools. Like, the thing with Ted and Terry, which is the tools we got given to make
mods, yeah.
Yeah, we got given them by CA and stuff like that to make kind of like city mods and things like that. They don't work entirely as intended. In fact, Terry I don't think works at all, which is the one where you basically port your like cities to the campaign.
Yeah.
I think that actually just crashes as soon as you load it up, so that's not really useful. And as well for the TED one, I know, because I don't know if you know Doomon 15, but he does a lot of like map mods.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he does them quite a lot in our era, because he's done stuff like Carthage as well, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, if you see his Carthage map, it's huge, and I definitely want that in the campaign. But the thing is, like, the walls don't work. Like, you can't put units on the walls and things like that, which is kind of stupid. He's only just managed to get a CGI to work, so that is definitely a step in the right direction. But until we get all these things kind of like ironed out and things like that, then we can't use custom maps. But we might be able to port Rome 2 ones pretty easily. I mean, the guy who posted on our forums managed to get like the Teutoburg Forest and stuff in, so I don't see why
awesome.
not. Yeah.
It's just all CA. They don't. You guys. You're not exactly on step 0 when you start modding. You have to work your way up, because CA hasn't really given you that.
I mean, you just kind of have to learn it as you go along.
Exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't know. I'm just.
Fair enough. It's some bits are easier than others, and some bits are just like ridiculously difficult. Like chariots were a bitch to get in. Like, it took us like a solid week or so to like figure out how to do that.
That's for what? Yeah, I just dropped something. Okay, he asks again, is every faction going to have individual generals and events, or is that going to only be available for factions like, like Rome and the bigger stuff?
Oh, what's he mean? Like,
I think
like actual historical generals,
like Hannibal and stuff. I think.
The ones that we know of, yes. Like, most of them will do, but some of the more obscure kind of like barbarian factions might not, because we just have no idea who ran them in that time. But yeah, most of them do. Like, all of the Greek states do, apart from maybe the Aetolian League. But like Macedon does, Seleucid does, Pergamon, all that kind of things. They all have their own custom generals, which I think you can actually play in custom battles as well, or at least you will do soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that should be in. As for events, like I said, that'll come like later. That'll come with all the political stuff.
Yeah, and then is that going to be like an update, or like another sort of big release, or are you guys just going to keep pushing out when you're done the thing and push it out? I mean,
we'll probably do like chunk updates. Yeah. At least that's how I would prefer to do it. I'm not sure
scattered
what they're going to be doing. We're probably going to do like immediately after initial release. Obviously, we'll have a few updates here or there, which we'll try not to break save games and stuff like that, because obviously we want people just to be able to play for as long as they want to, especially in the first like couple of months. Yeah, like by Christmas time and things like that, I'd like to say that we'd have some things, but like obviously I can't really have anything definite, because we've not even started anything like that yet. So we're just getting to initial release first, and then once that happens, we'll just slowly kind of build up what we want to do, and then probably release it in big chunks. So like say, political events will probably be like one big update, so you'll suddenly just get all these political events in one big update, things like that. And then like other things that'll come along later on, like actual historical events, like the big kind of, I don't know, like the Gallic Wars and stuff like that. And
Punic Wars, of course, already sort of happening.
Yeah, the Punic Wars are kind of finished.
Yeah.
And obviously we are going to look into adding extra campaigns as well, like from the DLC maps. Oh, that's awesome. But that's going to be a long time down the road. That's going to take a while.
That'll basically be like new mods, a whole new mod basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being like a new mod team.
Yeah.
Because like we've been working on, well, me and ABH definitely have been working on this for pretty much 2 years now. So yeah, it's getting a lot, and especially because like me personally, I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to leave university and things like that next year, and start to move off and actually have a life and do stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how we go. Like, I definitely want to get all like the grand campaign things done.
Yeah, of course.
But the rest of it might have to end up being eventually just adding new people in over time and just kind of having them do it.
Yeah.
But that's like this is talking like a year, 2 years in the future. So this is like, this is definitely nothing I could really say for certain.
For certain, yeah. Okay. Next year, exactly this time, there's gonna be none of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
No, but it's just adding in political events and the actual big events. Like finishing off the grand campaign is definitely like our main focus, because there's going to be a hell of a lot in there, and it goes all the way up to like 100 AD. So we're going to have all the Trajan Wars, like the beginnings of the Trajan Wars stuff like there and stuff as well.
Yeah,
so that'd be cool. Like the social wars is definitely something I'm really looking forward to.
It's adding in.
Which is basically after the Marian reforms, there's a big kind of fight between Marius and Sulla.
So that's sort
were
of
the big two kind of like generals at the time, and then
civil.
The entire of Italy kind of revolts against them because they want citizenship. Because all of the social allies don't have citizenship, and they want it. So if you start telling them no, it's going to be very difficult for you. Like the entire of Italy will generally just revolt against you.
That'd be very funny.
That's going to be a fun day.
You have one settlement left, and just all your people just hate you.
Yeah, pretty much. You'll have like, I don't know, like Rome and Naples, and that'll pretty much be it.
Jeez. All right. You guess who? You guess who? That's literally his name. So you guess who?
I know. I guess fine. I got that.
He has 7 or so questions. Jeez. No worries. First of all, he starts off by saying, as the Mediterranean Sea was the center of European antiquity civilizations, how would you depict the important role of the seas in concrete questions about gameplay stats?
Ooh.
Yeah, so basically, like, how important is naval fleets and control of the seas going to be in AE?
It's going to be interesting, I think, because for a start, we've got buildings like supplies, which is basically, and even ports, in fact, actually. And they import food. So if you have a naval region, and you have, like, say, a port, like a trading port, that'll import food. So if you then manage to get a navy there and you kind of block that port, then you will actually cut off a large amount of their food supplies.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it's going to be pretty damn important. Also, to move around, it's probably going to be faster on sea. It'll take you like maybe a turn or whatever to actually manage to get all your troops onto the damn place, but yeah, once you're actually in the water, then you should be able to like scoot around like nothing. So
is it
like having navies to intercept people is definitely going to be really important.
Useful, yeah. I was going to personally ask 2 things. He also asked how far can they travel. Is it just going to be the same as vanilla, or is there something tweaked?
Well, the general movement for all armies is massively higher.
Good.
Yeah, like you can move much further. We tried to make it kind of realistic-ish, but obviously if we had that for real, like a Roman army in like 2 or 3 months can probably march from one end of the map to the other. So that's a bit, like, I mean, they definitely marched for a hell of a long way in 2 and 3 months. So we obviously can't have it like realistic, but it's probably like
as best it can be.
At least, yeah. I mean, it's probably at least twice as far, like on land, than vanilla.
Yeah.
If not, maybe like 3. But naval movement, especially for actual navies, not like land-based transport ships, is a hell of a long way.
Yeah.
Like you can get from, I don't know, like the tip of what is it, Monday, like Gibraltar. You can probably get like from Gibraltar to Corsica in a turn.
Damn.
So yeah.
So you're gonna be able to use fleet a lot more effectively.
Yeah, definitely. You can just scoot around and just save people and raid them, and just definitely just generally make a nuisance of yourself. But also because navies probably won't have the manpower to take cities, then you will just basically just be an annoyance and not much else. So you'll basically just be raiding and blockading people.
Ports and stuff.
So yeah.
To get an advantage.
So you'll be able to like defeat any kind of like naval units that come against you in garrisons and stuff like that, but you won't really be able to actually take them in a land battle because your units will be too damn small.
Also, how would AE use vanilla embarking rules or give moment penalties to embarking units onto transport from ports?
Yeah. I know what you meant. It's fine. Yeah, because I know they have seasickness, don't they, in vanilla? I think.
Yeah, they do.
Which is a thing. Yeah, we'll probably keep that. Probably keep seasickness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet, to be honest.
No, it's good.
They're definitely slower, but they're not going to sit around and do nothing.
No.
Like, I think the first turn we'll probably keep them like in ports. We'll try and keep like. I think my main idea. I mean, obviously, there's other people in the mod that I'll have to talk to before I just start going off and doing things, but which I quite often do and get told off for. But yeah, basically, like, I think a nice idea that I think would be to have is basically if you want a land army to go and travel somewhere, you'll need to like go to a port city and just like jump off into a port and then like school off from there. So you'll be nice and protected in the harbour, and then you'll be able to like move off the next turn.
Yeah.
Obviously, for factions that don't have ports, we'll have to have like another option.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to take like a while for transports to get in and then start moving. So while they're kind of embarking, then that's probably the opportune time to strike with a navy.
Yeah.
So
an actual navy.
I would like it, yeah, like an actual navy, as opposed to just some landlubbers going to transport. Yeah.
Landlubbers. How strong are the naval garrisons going to be for the ports and such?
I'm not entirely sure. Not massively strong. Probably like 5 units of.
Sort of like a relative like garrison, infantry garrison.
Yeah, I mean, the infantry garrisons are going to be a little larger. It also depends where you are. If it's going to be like a main capital, if it's going to be like a walled city,
Rome,
then obviously the garrison, then the garrisons are going to be much larger. I think for like actual like walled cities, we're going to try and have like at least infantry garrison wise, like a full stack
that'd be
of
awesome.
relatively shit units, but at least
still
full stack.
Numbers,
yeah. I mean, the sieges in I don't know if you've tried one yet, but they're not easy.
No, they're not.
With all the kind of arrow towers and stuff firing off at you, and
arrow towers and vanilla are bad.
Well, the thing is,
not bad.
Obviously, we had to change it. No, I know what you mean, but like we've definitely downgraded them from what they were in vanilla.
Yeah.
So they're not going to go around and massacre half of your entire unit like they do, which is ridiculous. I remember before we balanced them, it was just a pain in the ass to try and do any sort of siege because it take like 5 minutes and all your men had just run away. But yeah, we've definitely toned them down. Like they're a lot less accurate for a start, but they do tend to fire a little bit quicker. So it's basically like having a relatively shit archer unit sat on the walls, fire arrows firing at you constantly.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to say that the arrow towers are now for AE. So definitely make sure you have like siege equipment that won't set on fire immediately. I've like you have to be careful with ladders and things like that. Definitely. But sieges are going to be fun.
Sieges are going to be hard, and that's what's going to make him fun.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a feeling I get from this
You're probably going to need like 1.5 armies to actually take a siege. Like it's going to be difficult, or you're just going to have to sit and wait it out.
Yeah. Which is realistic. That's what would have happened, which is awesome.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the very final question from you guys who once more, how advanced could the Northern European tribe ships be, if they are even able to create a stable maritime empire?
Well, from what we have them right now, they're just basically just like transports, pretty much. They're not much.
Navies.
They're not like they are navies in the fact that they're not like transport ships. for just infantry, but they're not very good navies.
No.
And I would definitely not recommend going up against, like, I don't know, some Athenian ships with like rams and freaking fire pots or whatever and towers, and yeah,
basically
you're not going to last long
against you.
Yeah, just I mean, the barbarian factions aren't really going to see much naval warfare because for a start, you're not on the Mediterranean coast.
No. Or even.
And if you do get to the Mediterranean coast, which for a start is going to be quite difficult because of all the cultural difficulties, then yeah, I mean, you'll basically just have to do it by land. Or if you do get to like the Mediterranean coast, then you might be able to hire some mercenaries and some pirates and stuff like that. That'll help.
Smart.
But yeah, you're definitely not going to be able to have like.
It's not going to be a big thing.
Yeah, your navies aren't going to be great.
No. Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say from these? What, we got like 20 questions or so? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think there's probably one thing that is basically just split armies I want to talk about quickly.
Sure, no worries.
And the
take
fact
your time.
that no, it's fine. Like they're not going to be. It's not going to be an initial release for sure. It's definitely something we're looking at, and so definitely something we're really excited about because. I mean, we're excited about as like most of the people that saw it, like when we announced it, which is like a day or two after our scripter announced that you could actually do it. So you can imagine our reaction was pretty similar to your reaction just 2 days earlier. Just like, oh, we could do that now, awesome. But yeah, like that's probably going to be a relatively large change because it's going to change kind of how things work in the campaign. We're not sure how we're going to do it yet, whether we're going to restrict like the amount of split armies you can have to like 5 or something, or if we're just going to have infinite amounts and just have it basically almost like the original Rome Total War, which is interesting because we could then also kind of just immediately kind of entirely eliminate garrisons and just do it through split army mechanic instead.
So especially
so we'll see how that works.
Yeah, it's very interesting because there's lots of new features adding in, but then you're going to have to try and balance it out. So there's lots of editing.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of design work. like I can imagine there's going to be quite a few arguments in the forums about exactly how they should be done.
You guys aren't on the mod team, too bad.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, like even in between the mod team, there's going to be a few different like ideas that are probably going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
So it's going to be it's going to be an interesting mechanic to try and balance. But I can't wait until that's in. Generally, that's probably one of my favorite things. Although politics is probably the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, just because it's going to add so much.
Are you planning to do that first from the the big releases after the actual initial release, or
it depends who's free, really.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I would imagine, like personally, it's the one thing that I want to see more than anything else. So yes, in that aspect, but
group-wise,
I don't know. I think our script has probably got the most momentum coming out of the release, so he's probably going to end up doing a lot of the script stuff first. I mean, there's some things that we're going to have to finish off, like the population mechanic for a start. It isn't going to have some of the effects that we wanted it to, because basically I spoke to him before we announced like their release date and things like that, and spoke to him about having like effects attached to them. So the larger your population grows to, the more food and stuff it'll need and things like that. And the more like squalor it'll increase. So you'll need to like either expand your city so it has like more area for people to live, or kind of like have sanitation, things like that. So it's going to be interesting. Like it'll increase your tax and things like that. There's things that we just kind of discussed. But unfortunately, we had some problems with the way that it works, so we had to delay that. So things like that are probably going to be like the immediate things after release. So just like fixing up the stuff that we wanted to be in initial release that just kind of had problems. So we'll like spend a couple more months like polishing them.
Even if there was no campaign release, I mean, even having the battle release, that's a lot. That is a lot if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, like it took us a long while.
Yeah.
Like the amount of units in there is ridiculously large,
and everything that comes with that balancing.
Yeah, I mean, price balancing. Yeah, like the first, I don't know, 2 months of the Attila, of moving to Attila was just a pain in the ass because even with all of the same stats that we had for our Rome 2 one, because personally the Rome 2 battle mechanics that I recently released actually, because we're never going to be doing Rome 2 again.
No.
Yeah, I know, sad times. But yeah, the mechanics there I thought were like pretty damn perfect.
Yeah,
like I was incredibly happy with them. But when we moved to Attila, they just didn't work for whatever reason. Even though we had exactly the same tables and exactly the same stats in those tables, so they should theoretically have been exactly the same, but they weren't. They were completely different. And the other guy who works on battles with me, called Philip, he actually ended up doing a lot of the initial stuff because I just couldn't get it to work for whatever reason. It just wasn't being happy with me.
No.
So once he got the foundations down, I managed to eventually kind of like grind it down to what I wanted it to be. But yeah, like much thanks to him for like fixing that, because it would have taken forever otherwise.
I mean, without the whole mod team, I'm expecting this would be nowhere near where it is.
No, definitely not. I mean, once we moved to Attila, we started gaining more and more members, because like you have to realize that when we initially moved to Attila, it was me, ABH, and Philip, and I think that was pretty much it as like a standard
team,
because the rest of the guys would be contributors or people that pop in and out every so often.
Not fully committed yet. I mean, everyone, on ending this Q&A, which is really awesome to get so much insight into the mod, and I hope you guys all agreed. You know, just I can't stress this enough, and I'm not even someone who works on the mod. These guys, you guys do it. I can't fathom. You do it for free. You do it in your own time. You've done so much work, and it's the good thing about this mod. It's a very dedicated crew. I feel like so. It's really the best of the best what's coming out. You guys really think, you know, this is the best what it can be, so we're releasing that, you know. I really personally appreciate that.
We wouldn't do anything less. Like, honestly, the team is so impassioned about what we want to do and what the vision is that we want to create, that we would never, ever allow anything but perfection is our goal. Like, we will not stop until we reach the point where we want to be. And even then, like, I doubt our team leader will be happy. Like, I doubt he'll ever be like entirely happy with the mod. Like, he'll just happily spend like another 5 years just like perfecting it. I swear to God.
It's like 10 new Total Wars out. Nope.
yeah, still on Attila. But yeah, I mean, like, I look at things like Rome Resurrectum 2 and Europa Barbarum for like Rome 1 and think just how amazing they were. Because like Rome Resurrectum 2 was my childhood. And I remember like just the feeling of that when I used to play it, like just how awe-inspiring it was. And just how amazing and fun that was to play as a kid. Like, I want to make that same
feeling for people.
Kind of feeling. Yeah, like I want to make like a mod that is reminiscent of like golden era, you know. So
well, I mean, you guys are very close on that. You guys are very, very well headed in that direction. You guys are going the complete right way. I mean, that's just coming from my point of view, of course. Just my opinion, but I believe that is exactly what you guys are doing. So, Petelius, thank you for coming on here today. Everybody, Havoc does lots of faction overviews and more awesome exclusive stuff, but make sure to subscribe and like, and yeah, just really thanks to the AA team for all you guys are doing with the mod.
That's right.
Anytime. Alright guys, see you later.